All right, we are live with Bet What Happens live. Just a little bit early before halftime here. We were trying to time it out right, but that's live TV for you. So we're looking at right now. Arizona is ahead 13-7. They have a 6-point lead on the New England Patriots, but we're going to try to keep track of this drive here. We have Mac Jones. He is 13 for 20 passing, not 30, 13 for 20 passing for 93 passing yards. Got Aguilar with 31 passing yards. Shout out to Sean Kerner for hitting that prop bet over 29.5. I'm glad I tailed him there. Hunter Henry with a big one right there. 30-yard reception for Hunter Henry just now as we speak. I have his anytime touchdown, so it would have been ideal if he took that in for a score. But holy moly. That's right. So my producer has the Henry over in his yardage, has the Aguilar over on his yardage. So shout out to my producer, Charlie. Let's go. But we'll see what New England does here. They're gonna take at least one shot to try to get closer for a field goal. I'm probably a few seconds behind because obviously streaming, and they fumble it away as I watch it live. So that they did end up recovering, and they're gonna get a timeout here. Unbelievable stuff. Do I have a crush on Hunter Henry? No. But we did have some bets on him. Various people in the Action Network crew had some bets on Hunter Henry. All right. So looks like of course the Patriots are going to start with the ball in the second half, but looks like they might be lining up for a field goal here. They are indeed. So we'll have to update things here. The kick is good. So they chop the lead in half. So now it is 13-10. So let's grab some live odds here. I'm seeing almost 50-50 at DraftKings, and then they just locked it. FanDuel has it locked. So we're seeing pretty much 50-50 at DraftKings. They just unlocked it there with a ever so slight nod to New England. And FanDuel has a 50-50 basically with an ever so slight nod to Arizona. So we're just going to call it a 50-50 game. That'll be easiest for us. So it is halftime. And that means we can go ahead and look at live player props. I know my producer will be pinging me just in case we get down to the 1-minute warning for halftime. But we are in a 50-50 situation. So what does that mean? Well, Arizona slightly has the lead. So we're in this close game scenario, or Arizona leading, but New England should close it back up based off of the win probability. So really in this close game scenario. So what we're expecting is we're probably going to be 2 seconds-ish average per play. Well, total. So 1 second per team slower than average. So as my colleague Billy Ward showed us in his live betting Monday Night Football article, we do want to take unders in a close game. So what is the current live line? It is 44.5 at DraftKings, 43.5 at FanDuel. And coming into the game, right, we were at a 44 total. So the total is slightly bumped up at DraftKings, slightly bumped down at FanDuel. But, I do think this is a situation where we could take a live under. So, ideally, I would love it if, for example, this was a little bit higher of a total, but 44.5 at DraftKings seems pretty good. Kind of an important number there with 23 points scored. That means 21 more points. You're getting that hook for 21.5 points. Plus, New England starting with the ball will be the slower of these two teams. So our first bet is going to be the live under for the total at 44.5 points. We're going under 44.5 points as our first bet for this halftime show between New England and Arizona. So first bet, under 44.5. You can get that at DraftKings. All right, so let's move over to the player prop market. Now, obviously, we had a lot of injuries, so we definitely have to talk injury news. We have Devontae Parker out. We have Ramondre Stevenson. He did get hurt, came back in, but then they still ran some Kevin Harris, so kind of an iffy situation there. Obviously, Kyler Murray is out, so what we've done with Colt McCoy is we added what his projections would have been if he was the starter. So I think our Colt McCoy line there is pretty good. And Colt McCoy does currently have 129 passing yards. Mac Jones, 123 passing yards. So that's kind of where we stand. So let's look at passing yard props. We are showing our live projection for Colt McCoy right around 250. And for Mac Jones, right around 242. Now, New England, or sorry, I should say Mac Jones live prop at FanDuel is 236.5, and we're showing 242. So that's pretty interesting. Plus, New England starts with the ball here. So let me put in 236.5, and we'll put in 242.5 for Colt McCoy. So we're showing pretty fair value on both of these, but I will say, once again, New England is starting with a ball, so this is probably going to be a little bit better for Mac Jones. Plus, especially if they don't score in this first possession, then it's going to look pretty good here. So we'll think about that one, but we're not showing enough of an edge. Like 53.8% isn't too much of an edge at a minus 112 juice there. So not going to take that one. So let's go to the receiving props, keeping in mind, of course, that Devontae Parker is out. So Nelson Aguilar's live prop is 53.5. We have Tyquan Thornton at 34.5. And it is going to be tough a little bit with these New England receivers. We have Trey McBride, tight end for Arizona, at 17.5. We have Hunter Henry, 48.5. James Conner, 29.5. I was curious if he'd have his props up because he came out and then he came back in. Another one that kind of was out and then in with a potential injury scare there. Johnny Smith, 7.5. We did Connor, Henry, McBride, DeAndre Hopkins. Nuke is at 60.5. We have Marquise Brown at 34.5, and we have Kendrick Bourne at 21.5. So is there any value in any of these receiving yardage markets? Now, we're showing some value on these New England unders, but we have to remember we can't really trust our pregame projections there because Devontae Parker is out. So I think we need to avoid these pregame, these unders that we're looking at, especially with New England starting with the ball. So we're kind of just going to ignore these. On the Arizona side of things, Marquise Brown, we're showing some value on his over. Now, they're not going to start with the ball. So what I want to do is I want to wait and see what New England does. If New England scores, we're going to want to take Marquise Brown's over based off what I'm seeing here because we're showing value on the over now. And if New England scores, then Arizona will probably have to pass a little bit more. So we're going to wait and see on Marquise Brown, but tentatively we're showing some value on his over. As far as James Conner, no value there. We're kind of in that range where, it's close enough to a coin flip that we don't want to take that, especially with Arizona not starting with the ball. So let's look at rushing props. The only one that's on the board right now is James Conner, 89.5 rushing yards. And we're showing value on the under there for 89.5 rushing yards. Let me just real quick double check and make sure I have the right number here. Yeah, so he has 58 yards right now. We have a rest of game projection on him at 30 yards average. So the median is even lower. It's at 26.5 median rest of game projection. So 26.5 plus 58 is 84.5 is our projection for him. And the prop right now is 89.5. Plus Arizona's not starting with the ball. Plus we're projecting New England to maybe potentially come back. This is a coin flip as to who's going to win. So our second bet is going to be James Conner under on his rushing yards. Remember, he also had that little injury scare potential. So I will definitely take under 89.5 rushing yards for James Conner as my second bet here. You can get that at FanDuel under 89.5 minus 114. Let me real quick check DraftKings, just see if they have a different juice or a different line here. They have under 89.5 minus 110 at DraftKings. So I would take this at DraftKings at minus 110, and I wouldn't think twice about this. I love this James Conner under here. Remember, dealing with the injury scare, Arizona's not starting with a ball. Potentially New England can come back and win this. So, and as I watch it, the juice is moving on James Conner. So it looks like you guys are doing a good job in betting this. It's moved to minus 118 at FanDuel, minus 120 at DraftKings. So y'all are really hitting this here. So James Conner under 89.5. Now he's dropped to 88.5 right as I speak. So good job, everybody. I'm glad you are taking the initiative to bet this. And I would not bet this past 87.5. We want to leave a little bit of wiggle room because 86.5, I think, is what we were projecting. 84.5 is what we were projecting, but we want to leave a little bit of wiggle room. So I wouldn't bet it below 87.5. So that's kind of my stopping point, but I would still bet at 88.5 and I would still bet at 87.5, but you got to make sure at 87.5, you aren't giving up too much juice there. And that's what I would do with James Conner. So we still have about 3 minutes until the 1 minute warning. Let me real quick go through some anytime touchdown props. We can do some live anytime touchdown props. By the way, if you have any questions, get them in chat. And while y'all are doing that, I will look at anytime touchdown props. So I'm seeing Conner, his prop is off the board. Keontae Ingram, he's at plus 1,800. We're showing plus 1,900 fair value. Ramondre Stevenson off the board. Kevin Harris, I think he's probably going to be off the board here as well, given the New England running back situation. Kind of unknown. Nuke Hopkins, he's at plus 320. We're showing plus 329 as fair value, so nothing there. Marquise Brown, plus 550 anytime touchdown. We're showing plus 511, but they don't start with the ball, so we're going to avoid that. On the New England side, obviously, Aguilar is down to plus 320, especially with Devontae Parker out. I don't think we can bet Aguilar. So pretty tough in the anytime touchdown market. Real quick, let's look at the tight ends. Trey McBride, plus 1,500. We're showing a little bit of value there. So if you want to take either McBride or Marquise Brown, we're showing some thin value on both. But again, Arizona's not starting with the ball. So I'd wait until after this New England possession to see what happens, what transpires. And then, especially if New England takes the lead, you could think about firing on those guys. Hunter Henry, we're showing fair value at plus 634. He's plus 400 at FanDuel, so no value there. And Johnny Smith, plus 1,000 at FanDuel, showing fair at plus 1,315. So no anytime touchdown value. Again, I would consider Marquise Brown, and I would consider Trey McBride after the New England possession here. But I think that's going to do it unless we have any last-minute questions. Doc Nick's thought on the Chargers, plus 2,400. We're talking about Sunday Night Football. Tyquan Thornton, what's the question here? Not quite sure what the question is on Tyquan Thornton, but we're not really showing any value on him. We're showing him plus 1075 as fair value, and FanDuel. Now, of course, that was with Devontae Parker in. So this changes things because Devontae Parker being out, we'd have to edit our pregame projections. So I kind of just want to avoid the New England receiving touchdown market because it's just kind of a mess right now with the Devontae Parker injury situation. So we're going to avoid that one. We're down to the 1 minute warning before halftime, about a minute and a half, I would say. So we are going to wrap it up there, but I hope that helped you all. Thank you for the great question there. HS6. Appreciate that. But that's going to do it. So our recapping our bets, we took the live under 44.5 total points and live under James Conner, 89.5 rushing yards. We're going under on that. And real quick, I'm just going to check the prop there just to see if it's moved any further. It's back up to 89.5. So you guys immediately bet it down and then it got bet back up. So I would definitely take the under. James Conner, 89.5 rushing yards. I love that one. I think that's the best bet. Maybe one of the best bets we've had on Bet What Happens Live in recent memory. So that'll do it. Anyway, enjoy the second half, everyone. And good luck with the bets. And we'll see you on Thursday for Thursday night